So I get a lot of questions about fire ants. How do I control them here on the homestead? And especially what do I do about fire ants in the garden? And specifically or particularly also in containers like these blackberries over here. Keeping fire ants out of your containers is a difficult proposition because they seem to really enjoy container living, condo living I call it. So let me show you what I have done for a long time and what works for me, working on controlling fire ants around the homestead, in the garden, and also in containers, if you're a container gardener. So let me show you what I'm doing. So I have tried a lot of fire ant products over the years. One of them called Orthene, I don't know whether they even still sell it. It's pretty effective on fire ants, but it is just, man, it's just strong. If you're downwind of it when you're sprinkling it out on the ground, it's a real fine powder. Man, it'll get you. I mean, there's one guy I know that just made him sick. So I stay away from things like that. In the past, I've done a liquid. I've done videos on that liquid, mixing Bifin IT and then spraying the fire ant mound with a very coarse spray down into the mound for about 10 seconds and trying to get it down as deep as you can into the mound. That works really good, but it's not something that I want to do inside a garden. So I have just switched to a bait, and I tried Amdro, and Amdro's just never worked well for me. And I've had other people comment on that Amdro just really didn't do anything for them. So I switched to this, and others have really said that they love it. This works great for them. Advion is a fire ant bait, which means they come to it. They come to get it. They take it down to mama. Mama's the queen, and the queen has to eat the bait, has to die for the mound to die. So this is just my preferred method, and the method that I think really works the best is Advion. I'll have a link to this below. You can find it sometimes in some of the larger farm chemical stores, but otherwise you're gonna have to go to Amazon to get it, and that's the link I'm gonna have for it. What I'll do is I'll sprinkle a mound. Let me see if I can find a mound. I've been treating them pretty good here lately. But I'll just sprinkle a little bit of it on the ground. It's a flake. Looks kind of like a little bit bigger than cornmeal. And just maybe a tablespoon, half a tablespoon, something like that, on a mound. You don't want to do it when you're going to get rain because it has to be in that granular condition for the fire ants to take it down to the queen. So if a rain comes, then it softens it and probably turns it into mush. So make sure you don't do it when there's a rain coming, unless you do another little trick that I have come up with, and I'll show you that in just a second. So sprinkle that on the mound, and it usually does the job within 24 hours. If it's a huge mound, you may have to reapply, sprinkle it again a few days later. If there's a few stragglers, and there may be, just one or two stragglers, it probably means they're dying, and you don't have to reuse. But let me show you what to do in containers and in garden spots. You're not supposed to use this in the garden, or it's not on the label for garden use. So let me show you how I treat in the garden or in containers, and it's just a simple way to do it. So here's a mound on the outside of the garden. Typically they say don't disturb them, but just so I can show you that there's plenty here. And they are mean little critters. I'll just put maybe a teaspoon, something like that, tablespoon, on top of the mound. And that mound will be gone tomorrow or the next day. It works real well. I haven't had it fail me. There's times when I have to reapply, but never a time that I said, well, it's just not working anymore. And I've been using this for many years. But what do I do if it's in the garden, actually in the garden? Well, let me show you what I do in that situation. So if it's inside your garden spot, you can typically get the fire ants, because it's a bait, because they're going to come after it and take it back to mama. you can typically just treat the outside edges. But what I like to do, especially if there's a rain coming, is use this. That's my secret weapon here. So I'll take some Advion and put in here. Tablespoon or so. And I just keep this jar outside. This is what this jar is for. And I'll just lay the jar pointing down just a little bit in case if it rains. If it rains, I don't want it sitting up like this, so I put it kind of down like this. Maybe put a rock under this side of it to where it's kind of pointing down. The ants will find it because they're looking for the food. They're looking for a bait. It works best when it's going to be above 70 degrees. That's when they go out scavenging for food. So just put this on the outside of the garden, kind of facing down just a little bit if there's rain in the forecast, and they will come up in here and get it and take it back to the nest, and the nest will die. So what about containers? So here's a good example of that. This is a wicking tub that has a lot of fire ants in it. I don't know whether you can see those or not. But they are in it to win it. So what I'll do in this situation is either on top, I'll set this jar on top, or I'll set it down here at the base. And that's just what I'm going to do right now. We've got rain, possible rain all week long, so I'm just going to keep this here and just point it down just a little bit, where if it rains, it's going to rain and drip off this way. And it will, they'll come down here, they'll find it, they'll come down and get it. Again, I can put it right here. I'm not actually treating the mound itself, or the tub itself. And I've had comments in the past that scolded me a little bit for using it off-label by putting it in containers and putting it in the garden. This is not doing that. This is I don't know whether the mound is actually in the ground, or whether the queen is in the ground, or whether part of the mound is in here, or all the mound is in here. I don't know that. So I'm going to put it either up here, or I'm going to put it on the ground, have success doing both ways, and just let them come find the bait, kill their nest, kill the queen, which will kill their nest, and then that's the way I treat them in containers. If you got a lot of containers, just want to put it down on the ground. This next container, the fire ants in that will come over here and find it too. Just about anywhere, if the ants are close at all, they're going to come find it. So that's my preferred method. It's going to kill just having that jar right there. As long as I've tilted it down, the rain doesn't get in it. A fire ant mound that may be over here, or maybe over here, way off in the ground, is going to come over here and find it and take it back to mama. How much they have to take back to mama, I don't know, whether it's just one little flake or whether they have to take back several bits. I don't know how hungry she is, okay? But if she's busy producing eggs, she may be kind of hungry. But you can see the fire ants crawling in and out of the weep hole down on the bottom. So again, they could be, there's a big stirring of fire ants, and they probably can't see that, down at the very bottom underneath this tub. So the fire ants may very well be under the tub and not in the tub. I just don't know. I mean, they're both, obviously. I don't know whether the main nest is, where the queen is. So this is the best way I've found to treat it. This is the best product I have found to treat them with, and I highly recommend this. Again, going to have a link below for you to get it on Amazon. It's hard to find. It's not something you can find just everywhere, but has worked great for me for years. I believe in this stuff, especially when you're working with gardens and with containers, because you can kill these things, kill the fire ants in the containers, and some people don't even know that fire ants will get in a container, but let me tell you, they certainly will. This is the best stuff I found to do it, and I swear by it. I get at least one every year. Now, do I have fire ants on my place? I absolutely do. I got 17 acres, and this one jug is not going to do 17 acres. I think one jug will do 2 acres. It's a pound. It's 2 pounds, and I think one of these 2-pound packages will do 2 acres, or maybe it's 4 acres. But it'll do a lot. It'll go a long way. But usually I wind up buying one of these a year, and you know, considering trying to keep around my house, around where the grandkids would be, whatever, trying to keep around the house fire ant free. I'm not going to do the whole 17 acres, but I will try to keep around the house in the yard, in the garden, and things like that, fire ant free. And this is what I use. So get you some if you're interested. There's a link below, and it's what I recommend. It really is good stuff. Hope it answers your questions, and I hope that I hope you'll kill dadgum as many as I'm trying to, because we don't need them. We don't need them anywhere. If you're up north and you don't have fire ants, well, bless your heart, because I tell you what, you're not missing out on a whole lot. All right, we're gone.